probably heard the hype. Just get a government contract and all your problems will be solved. Once you start winning contracts, it can. I don't just suggest getting into government contracting because you're trying to solve a money issue as a quick fix. I recommend getting into government contracting because you want to get into bigger contracts and those multiple year contracts. That being said, it can absolutely generate long-term cash flow, especially when you secure those multiple year contracts. Wondering how long it'll actually take you to start submitting bids and winning government contracts? Here's the truth. There is no one size fit all answer. Your timeline depends on a few key factors specific to your business. And in this video, I'll break them down so you'll know exactly what to expect and how to speed things up. So let's find out where you stand and what it'll take for you to start winning sooner. So let me share an example with you. So I once landed a contract where the government needed a building so that they could provide therapy sessions to soldiers with PTSD. We provided a temporary building on a temporary foundation, and then we rented the building out to them for 5 years. So here's what we got paid to do. 1, to transport and set up the building. 2, to lay the foundation. 3, the monthly fee. And 4, the eventual removal and breakdown of the building. So that was a one-time payment plus consistent monthly payments for 5 years. Can you say cash flow? Cha-ching. So let's get into how long it's going to actually take you to get to the bid table. So that's the first question, right? Like, how long will it take? And in all honesty, it just depends on your starting point. Are you fully registered and ready to bid? Or are you still setting up your sam.gov? You're still applying for certifications? Because here's the reality. So in setting up your sam.gov registration, getting your cage code, your UEI number, and having an active SAM registration, it could take, like 21 days or more. Everyone is different. It's a matter of the information you're putting in. Does it match across the various platforms that the government is going to check, like your business name, your tax ID number, addresses, email addresses, phone numbers. Did I say the name? That's where a lot of people get caught up, is on the business name and how they put it into the system. So just depending on those things, it can take longer because there could be a back and forth, meaning you're putting in information, it's getting rejected, and then you're having to go in and make changes. So that's why the timeline just depends. But if you're a person that, you have attention to detail, then yours will get, done sooner than those that have to do that back and forth. So just account for that time if you're not already there. And then if you're applying for certifications could take anywhere upwards of 90 days or more. It just depends on the backlog that the agency has that, you submitted your certifications to, because there are various agencies depending on the certification that you're applying for and what their backlog is. You come in at the date of submittal, and so those that were submitted before you are going to be processed before yours. And then again, same thing as with the SAM registration. If there's a back and forth as far as information that you may have left out, maybe you have to clarify some things for them, that's going to extend the timeline as well. So again, I always say attention to detail is very, very important. And it can, cut your timeline as far as having to do the back and forth and waiting on those certifications to be received. On average, most businesses, not all, but most businesses take anywhere from 6 to 12 months to win their first contract with the federal government. And that's after being properly set up. Again, that's just an estimate. Have some people won contracts prior to that? For sure. Have some taken longer? Absolutely. Again, everybody's different. Their motivation is different. What they bring to the table is different. Their capacity, the type of opportunities they're looking for, what agencies they want to work with. All of those things play a part in the timeline as well. But nevertheless, I've seen clients with the right strategy and support win contracts sooner. So take Tamara, for example. Tamara is a client of mine, reached, $96,000 in contracting dollars in less than 3 months. Then we had Princess, who won a $47,000 contract in 4 months. Then we had Chris, who won contracts totaling $1.5 million in 7 months. Now, how are these people different? Number one, their capacity. So if you're just getting started and you don't have capacity, you can't go after $1 million contract, right? Or if you're even just getting started and you don't have the infrastructure in place where you can handle multiple contracts, then you can't get to like how Tamara did with multiple contracts just under 6 figures in less than 3 months. So again, you have to look at your business, where you are. You can't compare to other people. Look at your own paper, see what your business have, what your capacity is, the things that you already have set up, things that you need to get set up. So you want to make sure you're checking off all the boxes, making sure everything is set up. There is a step-by-step process to this. And all of that will entail how soon you're able to start bidding on opportunities and how fast you will win. Now, I've won over $50 million in government contracts, so I like to say I know what it takes to win. So this is what I want you to do. In the comments, I want you to drop, "Give me the guide." Put that in the comments, and then I will send you over the link so that you can get the 5 keys to your $1 million year. And in there, you'll have the checklist of everything you need to do in order to get to start bidding those contracts faster. So the third thing I want to cover is what will help you win contracts faster. Prep work is everything. Here's what you need. You need to know your NAICS codes. All right, you can go to the internet and search NAICS.gov, select your NAICS codes. Get registered. sam.gov for federal, and if you're looking to do city, county, state, local contracts, then you need to register with those particular sectors as well. And then apply for all the certifications for which you qualify. It's better to have than have not, and they're low cost to no cost, so there's no reason why you shouldn't get them, because there is an advantage to having those certifications, and I will be talking about that in future videos here in the coming weeks. Then you want to identify your target opportunities. What agencies do you want to work with? Again, you need to know what you bring to the table, what their problems are, what solutions you can bring to them, what opportunities they have coming down the pipeline. So if you know the agencies you're going to target, you can look at their forecast to see what opportunities they have coming out for the fiscal year, and you can start preparing for that. And again, we'll cover that in future videos in the coming weeks as well. And then you want to make sure you're building relationships. And I always like to say, build relationships that are mutually beneficial. I'm talking about relationships with prime contractors, subcontractors, as well as the agency decision makers. So you want to make sure you're building the necessary relationships that you need. If you're going to need vendors, start building relationships with vendors, suppliers, whatever you're going to need to deliver on the opportunity, deliver to that scope of work, or maybe even the prep part of that as far as pricing and proposals. Make sure you have those things in place so when the opportunities come out, you are ready to bid and submit. You also want to make sure you understand your pricing. So you want to make sure you're competitive, but that you can price, okay? And that you're going to be profitable in your pricing. So I can't stress that enough. You want to make sure you're able to do that. And that is something that we cover in our Bid to Win program, because it is very, very important and is a key component to winning contracts and having a business that is profitable and that you can sustain over the years, which generates cash flow. And that is by pricing properly, profitably, and competitively. Then you want to learn how to write your proposals. So you want to make sure you're writing compliant, compelling proposals. And yes, you know, you can use a template. I even give my clients a template that they can take, tweak, and make it their own. But you have to understand, in writing proposals, you have to understand the why behind it, because every time you bid on an opportunity, more than likely that scope of work is going to change, which means you're going to have to change that proposal, if nothing more than pricing and the scope of work. So that's why those two sections are very, very important. Okay, whew. That's a lot to tackle alone. I get it. And that's exactly why I created the Bid to Win program. Now, you may be at a different starting point than someone else, but the goal remains the same: to win government contracts. Bid to Win gives you the knowledge, the tools, and the strategies to bid with confidence. Plus, with the program, you get lifetime access. to support you every step of the way, no matter how long it takes. So here's what most people don't realize. Opportunity cycles vary. So this is where, a lot of times people are like, well, how long will it take me to get a contract? This is another key component that determines how fast you'll get to the bid table. And so there's no set amount of time. We just have to look at the opportunities as they are. We can check the forecast. That'll kind of give us an idea. If you know your agencies that you're going to target, then we can kind of see from there possibly how long it will take before you start submitting, because you're looking at specific opportunities that you want to submit on based on your experience, your knowledge, and your capacity. So here's the thing. Some agencies post contracts quarterly, others only once a year. So if you're not ready to bid when the opportunity hits, you miss out. So what does that mean? You could be waiting a year if you offer something specific and this one agency only put out opportunities once a year. If it's something that you offer and maybe it cycles every 90 days, then depending on where you jump in within the cycle as to how long you may have to wait before it hits the streets again as an opportunity for you to bid. And that can be the difference in you winning a contract in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, or even in the next year. So do you understand how important it is to be ready, not get ready when the opportunity comes out? And so I know a lot of times we want to wait until we see an opportunity. Then we want to learn how to price effectively and make sure we're competitive. Then we want to learn how to write the proposal. No, you want to be proactive in your approach. So here's the fifth thing. Relationships matter. And I know you hear some people say, oh, you can get contracts without having a relationship with this particular agency or, with other primes or subcontractors. Absolutely, you can. But here's what I know to be true. To sustain growth, to make sure you're positioned to be profitable, to be the most effective way for your business and without all the stress, be proactive and start building the relationships before you need them. So you want to connect with the small business offices, your prime contractors, subcontractors. And I think I talked about this earlier in this video, right? Vendors, whoever you're going to need to, maybe you want to partner, maybe you want to do a teaming relationship, maybe you want to do a subcontractor agreement, whoever you need to have in place so that you can build out your team and be able to perform on the project when you're awarded the opportunity, right? You want to make sure you have those things in place. Here's another example. One of my clients came to me and they couldn't understand why a particular prime contractor didn't respond to their email and to their phone calls because they wanted them to partner with them on a contract. And what I just shared with you is really the reason why. You can't wait until you have the opportunity and say, hey, let's partner on this opportunity, and they're going to jump. They're going to jump. Now, the other downfall is he was looking at an opportunity that he didn't have experience in, so he wanted this other company really to carry the load. So that was another thing that you need to already have the relationship built, the warm and fuzzy. You need to know what you bring to the table. Like, why would they want to partner with you? And so that's why it's important to know your business inside and out before you go start building these relationships or trying to start building these relationships. And here's the other thing. When the risk is high, you definitely need to build that relationship beforehand. So if they're going to have to put their bond on the line, they're going to have to put capital up, use their cash flow. Yeah, you can't wait until the opportunity is there and then you want them to be a part of this opportunity and bid it with you. And then pretty much you're wanting them to kind of put everything together as well. That's a lot. Even if a company did want to partner with you, you gotta bring something to the table. It's like, why pick you over another company? You can't expect them to do all the work and then you benefit. With the right strategy and support, a winning is absolutely a possibility and faster than you think. For example, I had Kimberly in my program. She won an $88,000 contract in less than 2 months. Marcy won a $24,000 contract in 4 months. Kimberly won a $48,500 contract in less than 2 months. Of course, the numbers are going to vary. The timeline is going to vary. Remember, I said it all depends on how your company is positioned, what you already have set up and then what things you need to get set up. And I like to think of government contracting as a marathon, not so much a sprint. But if you take the right steps, stay consistent, and start now, you'll get the win sooner than you think. So if you want to shorten your timeline to actually get positioned and ready and able to win, let's talk. Book your bid prep call. The link is in the description. And I'm excited to help you win. Now, if you have any questions about your timeline to getting to the bid table, put those in the comments below. And I'd love to hear from you. And remember, you're just one contract away. Bye for now.